Hey, I want to talk about the feeling of like wanting to move on from this, like just wanting to be done with narcissistic abuse, learning about it, going to therapy, being triggered, having PTSD, like you just want to move on. I know that feeling very well. And what I have observed is that there's like 3 main stages. So the first stage is semi-denial, where you're in self-blame, self-anger, over responsibility, and feeling like you deserved it and making excuses for your abusers. And then the second stage is where you admit that you are a victim and that you have anger towards them, you hate them, you blame them, you see that it was not your fault, you realize that the responsibility was on them for how they behaved, you think that it was not fair, and this is where you set boundaries and work towards no contact. And then the third stage is moving on, having compassion, including self-compassion, having understanding, forgiveness, realizing that the abuser is also in pain, and this idea that you chose on a spiritual level to be born in your circumstances, and that no one is really a victim, because like all is one and like all the spiritual stuff. So what I was doing was I was trying to go from denial to the third stage. So I was trying to skip over the middle phase of being hateful and angry, because it's not fun to experience those emotions, and I don't like hating people. And I also had this fear of like, oh, karma, if I hate them, then the hate's gonna come back to me. But the reality is the hate is already in there, so by not expressing it, you know, it's still in your being. So you can't skip that phase. If you're trying to go from like self-blame to then forgiving them, it like doesn't work. You have to hate them first. And also I've like cycled through this many times, so like denial, hating them, forgiving them, like it just kind of, it goes over and over. And another thing that could happen to some other people is that you can get stuck in the hating them phase and not want to release that, because it means taking responsibility for the fact that you had some role in it as an adult that you've chosen to stay. And also I've learned that it's not the mind that decides when to move on, but you know, like your emotions and your psyche, like it's the wounded inner child that's gonna decide. So I was saying, I don't want to do this anymore, I don't want to do this cycle of like the victim, anger, forgiveness. But you know, the mind doesn't get to choose. It's the inner child who's going to choose whenever the trauma is resolved. So it kind of cleared things up for me in the sense that I need to feel the anger and the hatred, and I will never get out of it if I keep repressing that stage. And then if you are also resisting, you know, forgiving them or coming to some higher understanding, then you're also going to stay stuck. So resisting any phase, any point of the cycle is going to lead it to stay. So also staying in denial is obviously just going to keep you in denial. So resistance at any point is going to make you stay in that phase. And I think the only thing we can do is just try to surrender to the process and say that, you know, it'll be over when it's over, and be okay with it not being over right now, because you are getting better. Like every single day that you are working on yourself, you are getting better. So, thanks for watching.